Hey guys.
Hello.
Cool. Judith, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So theoretically, we have quarterly docathons. I dropped the ball and did not schedule one for the beginning of the year, so it's time to do another one.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I was wondering whether or not um, we wanted to think about opening the docathons up to be more hackathon style and less docathon style. I think the original idea was to give some dedicated time to improve the documentation.
Mhm.
But my impression was that the projects were a little smaller for last Docathon than they were for the Docathon before that. And I was wondering, and maybe there was not as much interest. And so I was wondering if we wanted to kind of open it up to all projects, not just doc projects.
I guess I did not follow. So what did you mean by few projects?
It seemed like the list of fixes that we had, they were all like smaller fixes. So like they weren't as the changes weren't as significant.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that was just my impression though.
Okay. And you are suggesting instead to do what? So when you say instead of a docathon, it should be a hackathon style, what exactly do you mean?
It would basically just be like you could do any project, not just a docs project. So like you could work on anything that you could think you thought you would complete in the allotted time.
Oh, so you're saying just make it a hackathon and not a docathon.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to work on docs, that's just one of the things that you could work on.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a better idea or not. I just wanted to float it and see what other people thought.
Got it. Um, yeah, quarterly hackathons are also, so we would still be doing hackathons during Mesos and Mesos
Yeah.
Advance, right?
Yeah, this wouldn't replace those.
Okay.
Do we know that there's a hackathon scheduled for Mesosphere Advance? Because I haven't been involved in that at all.
I haven't been involved either, so it's probably
Yeah,
worth
I don't know.
maybe pinging Jorg or someone who is leading that effort to see if they have maybe DCS hackathon and on which people could just hack on Mesos too, or is there going to be a Mesos specific hackathon? Um, or any opportunity with any hackathon opportunity where people can hack on Mesos.
All
Um,
right. I will ask Jorg about that.
cool.
But this would be separate from that.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Oh, at, at least to me, hackathon, doing that as hackathon is fine. But I think our dogs are still not at a place where we are really happy with in terms of them being really usable. We made some improvements in the last cycle. I think we probably need to do a couple more of dog specific thons before we get it to a place where we say, okay, dogs are at kind of same level as the code base, and so we can just do a generic hackathon where dogs could be just one of the themes. But I personally think maybe we should do at least one or two more docathons just to get dogs to the same level as or rest of the code base.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think I'd also like to see a couple more docathons, and I think maybe we could try to get more attendance at the next one from some of the prominent contributors. I think if we got some of the people who are really active to attend, we could probably make a lot of progress on some things that we just know we need to do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So yeah, maybe we can advertise it pretty heavily and try to apply some pressure, get people to show up.
Yeah, I think one thing that we probably want to try to do is like having people sign up to do a doc project up front before coming into the docathon. I think a lot of the times people just come into the docathon without any idea, and then they're trying to form teams and trying to get stuff to do. Maybe it's better to have some teams up, some projects up front that people can sign up for example, or have them propose some other projects and have people come into it with a good idea of what they want to work on so that they just hit the ground running. Maybe that would be more, we could get more output out of it that way, I think. Maybe we could try that, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Would that be like a spreadsheet, Google form,
Yeah.
anyway?
Yeah, just a spreadsheet would do, and people could just sign up in the columns, and
Cool.
we can then seed them with some and then have people add some stuff. So little more upfront work so that people get more excited and see, oh, okay, these are things that people are working on. Maybe I should join, instead of being a freewheeling thing that they come and figure out what to do.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I think that could help.
And what is the time that you're thinking for the next Hackathon? Like which month? Roughly?
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask about. So I was thinking maybe it's late March already, so maybe late April would give us enough time to put it together and figure it out, or if we wanted some other time, I'm open to any time.
Late April sounds fine. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
works for me.
1 month heads up would be good.
Yeah.
And are we going to do it again at Mesos office, or are we thinking maybe some other office like Yelp or something? Or
I was thinking Mesosphere office just because it's easier for me to coordinate that way. But if we wanted to have it somewhere else, I could reach out to Sunil and see if he wants to host it there.
Because I've heard last time when Uber hosted their meetup, that was a pretty good success. So maybe if some of our biggest users are trying to host them, maybe it'll garner more interest. I don't know. We should probably reach out to like some of the bigger users and see if anyone would be interested to host one. And I see a new member on call, Sandeep. Hey, Sandeep. Can you hear us okay? We can't hear you if you're speaking, even though you don't, you look muted.
He's muted.
So if you want to say hi, you can unmute. I guess he's not near his desk, maybe. Okay. Is the first time he's joining? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but I can look him up on the list later.
So.
Okay. We can't hear you, Sandeep, but hi, thanks for joining. Okay, so I guess we're saying Hackathon, we could schedule one end of April, and then we'll see if anyone would like to host other than us.
Yeah, it'll be better. I'll see if people want to host, and that'll probably help determine the date. So
yeah.
On a related note, do you guys know if there's been any talks with Twitter about possibly hosting the dev sync?
Yes, I have. So if anybody could help me with this, I would be super stoked. I reached out to Ian and he got back to me initially, and then I think it just fell through the cracks for him, and I haven't gotten a response for him in a long time. So if anybody knows who at Twitter I should reach out to coordinate that, that would be awesome. I feel like Ian's probably just too busy to do it, and it won't take that much coordination. It's just like facilities, find a room, get some food. So
Ian said they wanted to do it?
So Ian told Ben that they wanted to do it. And then there was some back and forth about the date, and then Ben wasn't available. And then I stopped getting responses. So I think it just got a little complicated.
I can reach out to Ian. I don't know anyone else at Twitter at this point who's on the Mesos related team. I guess I know David, who works on Aurora. I can reach out to both of them. Interested in hosting a dev next time.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And just copy me on that, and I can do all the logistics for it.
And CC. Okay.
Yeah, you know when those email threads get really long and then you're like, I don't even know what this means anymore.
So was there a thread already that you're involved in and it kind of...
Yeah, there was. It petered out.
Okay. Can you forward that to me so that I get
Yeah,
context?
this is
Okay.
developer community sync.
So when is the next sync? Did we figure out when is the next one?
It's on the calendar for, let's see here. Display only this calendar. Developer meeting April 12th, it looks like.
April 12th. Okay. So we have like roughly 2.5 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work out for this one, that the next one is on May 10th. So it might be better to shoot for the May 10th one if we don't want to be rushed about it.
Okay. Let me give them April 12th and May 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. I guess what next? Okay, so I guess other thing on chat quickly was there. I think in one of the previous community things we were talking about new working groups that we should be spinning up, and I think API working group. We sent an email and see that Greg is doing an awesome job trying to lead that. And sorry, Greg, I wasn't able to co-lead it with you.
No, it's all good. No worries.
But how's that going? How's the experience so far?
I think it's good. I'm gonna try to follow the precedent set by the containerization working group going forward and have a speaker lined up to present something each time.
Okay.
Because I think that just helps keep things moving and keep the meetings productive. So Ji Tao, as you guys know, presented this past time, and I don't have anybody yet for this next one, but I'll find somebody. And I think one thing that I've seen already that's been nice is some increased discussion on API changes on the mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's having a good effect already. Looking forward to continue.
Some data already about the deadline stuff, right? So did we already talk about that in the API working group?
Wait, I'm sorry, what was that?
The task deadline stuff that there's a thread about in the mailing list. Has that been talked about in the API working group?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so maybe like Jital could also talk about it the next work. That's one of the items that we could have discussion around in the next working group. Have Jital come and talk about it.
Okay, are you talking about this max duration thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually really read that thread yet, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they're
Exactly
basically trying to see if we can add a new field into the task info where executor can kill the task after the duration. So I think that's worthwhile talking about in the API working group.
Okay, yeah, he was actually pinging me about that this morning, asking if we, he's trying to work out his schedule, so he wasn't sure if it should be discussed in the working group or if an email to the list was sufficient.
I think he already sent an email, but it's probably worthwhile bringing up into the working group as well. But that shouldn't block the forward progress on that one. And I'm just looking at when is the next meeting for API. Is it on the calendar or no?
Yeah, it is. It's every 2 weeks, so it'll be next week.
Okay, it's April 3rd. Okay, it's not too far away. That's good. And I guess in general, if there are any API related emails that are being discussed in the prior 2 weeks, we could have those folks come up and chat about it in the working group, and that's the probably easiest way to have folks to find folks to talk about stuff.
Yeah, we discussed this in the first meeting, and we were kind of thinking that, well, I mean, one of our concerns was that we didn't want to slow people down too much or block people's work.
Oh yeah. I don't think having it presented in the API working group is progress. It's just a forum for having more discussion, more input, disseminate what they're talking about and stuff, but they shouldn't block themselves from working on it if they have already emailed folks and they got some momentum and some feedback.
Right. What we were thinking is if someone raises concerns on the mailing list, then the working group can provide a forum to
exactly.
work through those.
Yeah, especially if they're not getting the feedback in the mailing list, discussion is not going forward. It's probably worth bringing those folks into the working group meeting and say, hey, let's discuss about it during this slot that we have already.
Yeah, I think that also we only discuss it in the working group if there are objections or a discussion on the mailing list. I think we floated that idea when we were going to schedule the working group on an ad hoc basis. But if we're scheduling it every 2 weeks, it might make sense to talk about anything we could get a speaker for. It'll probably get them more feedback, even if they, it's like a bonus.
Yeah. I mean, even if there's no contention yet, still probably worthwhile just talking about it. Sometimes people understand it a little bit more when they talk versus when they just propose it on the mailing list, and they might have better questions. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Cool. I guess what were other working groups? I'm just trying to look into the doc to see.
So we had talked about a storage working group. I've been pinging, I think Benjamin is actually planning on sending out an email to gauge interest on that, and just keeps getting distracted by other things. So I'll ping him again about that.
Trying to send an email.
Yeah.
Okay. And he wanted to lead it or co-lead it?
Yeah, I think he was going to lead or co-lead. He was interested in that. I think one of his concerns was the timing, because I think some of these meetings are not super Europe time zone friendly. So I just told him that we would, if he's helping to lead it, then we could make sure that it's at a suitable time.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's Hamburg is +7, right? And so 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. is still not too bad. That's still 4 p.m. for them.
Yep. But yeah, our other working group meetings do not occur at 8 a.m. They're at like 11 a.m. It's not as good.
I thought happens at 9, right? Did they change it to 11 now?
Which one?
The containerization one?
I don't recall. It may be at 9.
Yeah, it is at 9. Yeah. 9 a.m. every 2 weeks on Thursday. Yeah, 9 a.m. I think is pretty decent, I would say. Even at 5 o'clock, just kind of unfortunate for Hamburg folks. But right now for daylight savings, 9 a.m. is still 4 p.m., so it's not too bad. So 9 a.m. is probably fine. Most people even in West Coast can make it. I guess what about release working group? That's one of the things that I kind of brought up in the last API working group meeting. I think that's one of the things that's really valuable to have, especially to kind of make our releases better. I think to have a forum where we can do burn down meetings, we can discuss about what are some of the blockers still, and how do we make sure things are getting committed, and stuff like that, and maybe discuss about any contentious backports or anything of that sort. I think it's really valuable. I'm just trying to see who could lead that effort, who is passionate and who has time.
Would it be a rotating leader based on the release manager?
Yeah, that's probably one good idea. Like we could have the release managers lead those meetings, and every release it could rotate. So Greg, you kind of signed up for being release manager, you and Alex. Will you be able to lead those, or do you think that would be too much on your plate given community and API and now release?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to add anything additional on top of actually managing the release, then I'm hesitant.
Yeah, like maybe can we ask Alex maybe to see if he would be interested in leading this? Then
We
he's
could.
really for it, and see if he wants to lead that effort. That would be. Can you reach out to him?
Yeah. So what's the proposition exactly? So I guess what are we proposing will precisely happen in these meetings?
Well, I guess mainly what is happening in a release channel in the Mesos lab. All those discussions that we're having around when a release is getting cut, whether we should block a release for this feature, and stuff like that.
Because I think
I was mainly thinking things like release managers could have a release dashboard created and have any blockers being discussed and see, hey, these are things that are targeted for this upcoming release, but we do not have any progress on this one. Does it still need to be a blocker or not? And getting a rough feeling of how the things are. Right now, we're doing that at the end of the release, right? When we want to cut, we're doing a release dashboard, and then we're trying to talk to folks and see, hey, can you get the stuff into the release? This is marked as blocker and stuff. I'm saying you should start doing that sooner than later. Start getting a dashboard right now. Maybe bring that up during that release meeting and then say, hey, this is how it's looking. This is how many things that are targeted for 1.6. This is how much time we have. And just like have a forum for people to discuss, like whether they want something, a blocker for release or not, and stuff like that.
Okay, I mean, I think that could be useful if we get a lot of people to attend. Otherwise, like if you're looking at a particular item that's slated for 1.6, if the person owning that isn't attending the meeting,
yeah, maybe we should invite them specifically, especially for things that are assigned or shepherds for those things that are targeted for a release. We should just ping them and say, hey, can you guys please attend? Let's chat about it, kind of thing.
Do we often not get responses from them in Slack or on the mailing list when we're needing responses?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But I think the problem is we always been doing that at the very end. And I guess I was hoping having this working group as a forum would be a forcing function for people to think about their blockers up front. And then, I mean, it doesn't take like half an hour every 2 weeks. It probably takes like maybe just 15 minutes maybe. And in the end, when it's time to really release, like 2 weeks before or 1 month before, that's when it will become more aggressive, maybe. Like the other option is to just do the release API release work group just 1 month before release instead of having it over all 3 months. I don't know if that's better. Or like, are you guys worried about there not being stuff to talk about? Or are you guys worried about a lot of people won't be attending until it's release time?
I guess my concern is that it's taking things off of like an asynchronous channel into a synchronous channel, and getting people to attend meetings is always hard, especially when they're really busy, which is what happens when a release comes around.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're not saying do not use the Slack channel. They'll still be asking questions there, and they'll still be getting responses there. But having a forum where they can come and talk to the release manager might be useful. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if there are complicated issues that like bear further discussion that's really inconvenient to type, then I think it's a great thing to have a standing meeting for that.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure exactly what constitutes these interactions that take place between a release manager and feature owners, since I haven't managed a release before. But if it's going to be just a matter of the release manager checking in with the feature owner to see, like, are you still planning on getting this in? Then that doesn't seem to necessitate a meeting to me. If the conversations usually require more discussion as to whether a particular, like whether the community thinks a particular feature should block the release, or something else that requires like a wider discussion, then that's more than just a check-in between the feature owner and the release manager, then I could see a meeting making sense.
Yeah, I guess my only worry is that release managers won't check in until the very end. If they are going to check in every couple of weeks, starting from now, and we said, okay, we are going to do a release at whatever time frame, and I'm going to check in every couple of weeks or so, I think that's fine. I just haven't seen that happen before. So I was hoping this would be a forcing function for them, at least the release managers to come and discuss, hey, how it's going, how to see, and other people interested can join in. But if you think as a release manager for 1.6 that you would have some calendar reminder or something to check in with people every couple of weeks to see how the release is shaping up, I think that's fine. That I feel.
Yeah, I mean, the meeting could be a good forcing function. I'm curious if we could get people to actually attend for it to be useful. I guess we could give it a try and see if people do.
Yeah, I mean, even if just release managers come and chat among themselves in that meeting as a time slot, and then if other people are interested can join in, that's fine. There's probably just you could use it as a public forum to meet and discuss, like just you and Alex, and now other people who are interested come and join.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you. You are the release manager, so I give you the decision.
Okay, I'll chat with Alex about it.
That's fine.
And it might actually be,
Cool.
if you and Alex think it might be a good idea, and you guys think you might have the bandwidth to run it, just float it on the mailing list and see if anybody says they'd be interested in coming to something like that. Because if you float it on the mailing list and everybody's like, no, I don't want to do that, then you don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I have another conflict, another meeting at 11, so I need to actually jump out right now. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Okay, no worries. Later, Vinod.
Bye.
So, Greg, the other thing that I was thinking about the release working group was that maybe it would be a place where we talk about the release cadence and all the stuff that we'd been talking about in the API working group.
Yeah, I think that's that would definitely make sense. I guess I hope that that's a conversation we just like have. I hope that's a decision we can make and then not really have a conversation for a while.
Yeah, that would be good too.
So I don't know if like an ongoing meeting would be helpful for that purpose alone.
Yeah, I think it just
in the short term we need to reach a decision.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it also depends on like whether or not it's going to take a bunch of optimizing. So like if we do decide on a new system, then it could be awesome or it could be not great. And we might try a couple of things before,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So did you get an action item from that just to talk to Alex about it?
Yeah, I'm going to make a separate little section for action items because I won't see it otherwise.
Okay.
Cool. So that's the end of the agenda. Let's go over the action items from last time.
Cool.
I did have a meeting with Ben Mahler to talk about blog posts. We took some notes. There's a link here. And I think the biggest category that we were looking at when we spoke were blog posts from users. So I think the thing I'm going to do in the short term is reach out to some Mesos users and see if they would be interested in doing some blog posts for us.
That sounds great. I talked to I'm blanking on his name now. Someone from Indeed.com, and they use Mesos, and they were really interested in writing a blog.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I had passed them off to. Well, we're waiting on their draft, is what's happening. They were like, "Oh, we'll write up a draft, and I'll check back in with them about it."
Okay, that's great.
Maybe I'll just copy you on that thread when I check back in, and
yeah, please
help.
do.
Okay, cool.
And I don't think Gilbert got a chance to do this. I'll copy that back up so we can ping him about it. I did not reach out to ASF Infra. Copy that up. And, so Jorg had an action item to sync with you, Judith, about sending swag to the contributors that Andy worked with at the hackathon he was at recently.
Sending swag. We sent him Mesos stickers, but we didn't send anything else.
Yeah, so I think this was after the hackathon. He actually got a couple of really good contributors there.
Nice.
So we were hoping we might be able to send them something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But Judith, would you be able to ping Andy and ask him about sending swag to those folks?
Yes, I can.
And maybe coordinate with him.
Yeah. Do we have any Mesos swag other than stickers? Because I could send them Mesosphere t-shirts, but that seems a little weird.
Yeah, that is weird. So I don't. Maybe we don't have anything to send them. In which case, I guess it's a moot point. Yeah, I guess you would know better than me. So maybe we just don't have anything to send them.
Yeah, I mean, it might be worth if we. It would probably be worth us getting some Mesos t-shirts made or something.
Yeah, I certainly want one.
I know, me too. I would be all about it. So, yeah, I'll ask the marketing team if we have any swag and if we're open to creating any. And
okay.
Then, I'll let Andy know what the outcome of that is, and if we have anything to send, offer to send it.
Okay. Thank you, Judith.
Yeah. Does he have any like Microsoft swag that he would want to send? Because
maybe.
I mean, that would be at least more appropriate than us sending my sister's swag.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess that's a possibility. I mean, I assume they have like mountains of swag somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. I'll figure that out.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I think that's all the action items from last time. I'll get out the monthly email this week.
Do you have content for that?
It's just going to be another short one with updates from working groups, I think. Yep. Ben, I was talking to Ben Mahler about it, and he was kind of suggesting making the monthly thing a blog post, which I guess we had talked about briefly before here. But I think I'm realizing one of the nice things about doing an email is that it can be very minimal, which means that if I just have to do one at the very end of the month, it's possible to do it pretty easily. So I think I'll just stick with the email for now.
Yeah, and ideally the blog would be like ideally if we get the blogs ramped up at all, then the email will be like, hey, see all these blogs we published, and here's
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if blogs were more like substantive, informative. I've never been all about announcement blogs.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, that's everything from last week. Did you have anything else to chat about, Judith?
I don't think so.
Okay, me neither.
Cool.
So I guess we're done.
I guess we're done. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Judith. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.